Hey, cool. I always like this music at the start. It's kind of cool. So this is a blast from my past. I used to play this game when I was a kid. This is one of the very first games I ever played. And just getting used to the buttons. So I played this for a long time. The legend has it that one of my brothers, he went to Toys R Us with my mum, and she bought him a game called Ghost House on Sega Master System. And I started crying, or I was jealous, I can't remember which, and she felt so sorry for me. She went back and bought me this game, Kung Fu Kid. So that's how I came about it. And I always loved martial arts as a kid. I used to love watching, you know, Bruce Lee and stuff like that. So and Jean-Claude Van Damme was one of my absolute heroes. So this was right up my alley. Is this the greatest game of all time? I don't know. I've always quite liked it. And this is actually, I would say this is actually a horror martial art game. That's how I would generalize it. And I'll point out some of the horror in this later. I hope I can beat this game. This game's only about 20 minutes long, so it's not a very long game, by no means. One thing I've always loved about this game's controls is when you actually throw a kick in the air, you can keep it out by holding down the button. I always love that aspect of it. So you can just land it every time, very precise, like that. And these little white paper things, I believe these are supposed to be I believe they're like kind of enchantments on paper. If you ever, I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen them, but any kind of old Chinese martial art vampire genre, they would stick these kind of pieces of paper on the corpses to stop them from getting reanimated. And I guess this is what these are. I guess you throw them at the monsters like that. I think that this might be a witch from the movie. And again, don't quote me on this because I can't really remember too well, but I think there's a movie called A Chinese Ghost Story, which is one of my favourite Chinese movies. And I think they're like these kind of long-nailed witches in that. I'm guessing this is possibly what inspired those. And that's a great movie, by the way. A Chinese Ghost Story is a really, really good movie. With, is it Leslie Cheung in it? He was like, you know, he was a big star back in those days and a big singer. And it's a romantic martial arts horror film. And it's very creative. It's very fun. I really recommend A Chinese Ghost Story. They did a sequel too. I wasn't a big fan of the sequel, but I know it does have its fans, so that's one to definitely look out for. I don't know what these orange guys are though. I can't put my finger on what these are. I've always thought about it, but I don't know what they're supposed to be. Like golems or something? I'm not sure. These little purple girl things, I think they're dolls. I think they're evil dolls. I think you can actually take a shortcut up here. If you're really skillful, I think you can actually get up here. I'm not going to fart around with it too long, just in case I fuck it up too many times. Let's have one more try at that. See if we can take a shortcut. Come on, get your ass up there. There you go. Fucking hell, that's some skills right there. So yeah, I believe these are like paper talismans. I think they are anyway. But then again, in like Chinese supernatural culture, I actually completely gone the wrong way. You can also throw eggs. Eggs are used to ward off demons and vampires and monsters too. Which sounds very odd to us, doesn't it? Now these just look like frogs. Now don't ask me why there's a frog as an enemy. I don't get it. Answers on a postcard if anyone knows why there's frogs. Oh, warding spells. Yeah, something like that. They're on paper, aren't they? Don't they draw like symbols on them or writing on them or something like that, and they put them on their heads? There's also a powered up version of these. It's a red version. It goes further and it burns them up, but I don't actually know how to get it. I think it might be point related. I wish I got one so I can show you guys, but I'm not 100% sure how to go about it. And these don't work on bosses at all. Wow, you could stack damage like nobody's business on him. Now you're probably wondering, what on earth are these monsters I'm fighting? And it took me forever to figure out what these were. I was watching a movie called, I believe it's called Encounters of the Spooky Kind with Sammo Hung. And there's, oh, there you go. Here's the powered up version. Fucking badass. Yeah, I watched a movie called Spooky Encounters, and Sammo Hung's in it, and he, for like a challenge, he has to, or a dare, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he has to stay in this kind of like crypt. And there's a vampire in there, or a zombie, and it gets reanimated. And what it is, because of rigor mortis kicking in, because they're so like stiff and their joints are so stiff, the vampires can't actually bend their limbs, so they're constantly hopping. So what these actually are hopping vampires, or hopping zombies. Again, it took me forever to figure that out. I never knew what those fucking were, because they're so weird. Spooky Encounters has possibly one of the greatest endings of all time as well, by the way. And actually, what's actually pretty interesting, the guy who actually plays the vampire in Spooky Encounters is actually Ewan Bew, and he was actually one of the trio that went to the Peking Opera School with Jackie Chan and Sammo. A lot of people think he was the most talented one, or naturally gifted one of the three, but they never got quite as popular as Sammo or Jackie. But he's a very talented martial artist and very talented acrobat, for sure. And if you want to check one of his movies out, I'd check out Prodigal Son. I'd say that's probably his most biggest highlight. He was also in this god-awful film called The Avenging Fist as well, which I want to mention. I believe Avenging Fist started off as a Tekken movie, but they didn't realize like the Tekken characters were, you know, they didn't believe in copyright, so they were using these Tekken characters. And legally, they had to change some of the script like last minute, so you've got this really jumbled up mess, and it's a fucking dreadful film. Avenging Fist. And Sammo Hung wears this tinfoil hat, and it looks ridiculous. It's a really, really bad movie. I've actually got Ollie to watch it just to kind of torture him a little bit. It's called The Avenging Fist. But if you want to watch a good like Ewan Bew movie, definitely check out Prodigal Son. He was also in Wheels on Mills as well, which is not. It's a pretty decent martial art movie as well. But definitely Prodigal Son. I remember watching Prodigal Son on a Kung Fu night one time. Don't know if anyone that's watching this from Britain, but back in the 90s and 2000s, they used to do like Kung Fu night and stuff, or Bruce Lee night. They used to have a couple of Bruce Lee films on. It would usually be like, you know, Enter the Dragon followed by Fist of Fury or something, but sometimes it was just called Kung Fu night, and I remember watching Prodigal Son on there for the first time ever, and it took me forever to find out what that film's name was. All I remember was a bunch of ninjas jumping from the ceiling, slitting all these guys' throats. I was like, what is that movie? It was years and years later when I was collecting Asian movies that I come across it. Now, this is a really weird part of the game as well. I have no idea what this does, and we figured this out when I was a kid with my brothers. There is a secret here, which is like a potion, and it changes your hair purple. And it's here somewhere, but there you go. Watch this. Watch my hair color. It goes from brown to purple. I have no idea what this does, but this is something I figured out as a kid, so again, if someone can tell me, sure. But I'm going to get it anyway, because I'd rather get it than not get it, because it is a secret after all. Oh, fucking hell. Oh my god, that was close, fucking hell. I would have hated to do that level all over again. I think the graphics are pretty good for Sega Master System though. What do you think? What do you think, Oddy? I still remember some of the old tricks on this game. Not many, but I believe that your life carries over on this section. So if I have low health, I'll start with partially low health on the next one. I was going to say, what do you think about the graphics? I think it looks pretty good, this game, to be honest. I have always felt like the Sega Master System had overall better graphics than the NES, me personally. NES had those horrible pinky, light pinky colors, and I always didn't like that. You just gotta love the sound effects on how they fall to the floor, don't you? It's so great. The priority you have on this kick is great. Again, I want to have as much health as possible in these fights because it does carry over, so yeah. I've almost beaten the game already. It's surprising how short this game is. Okay. Okay, already getting all technical. Oh, I got to kick him in the back. Ah, I got it. I got it. Nice. And these talismans, or whatever you want to call them, they do not work on any boss. And it doesn't really pay to fight much in this game neither. Like, as you probably figured out by now, it's best just to run away from everything. I know people like point scoring, but that was more of an arcade thing, getting points. Damn. She's pretty easy, actually. Okay, I think we're actually on the last stage now. Okay, I'll definitely think about doing that. I don't want to do it in the run right now, but I'll definitely turn that filter off afterwards. But I used to love this game, honestly. I used to play this all the time back in the days. Oh, you got the old Drunken Master right here. Gotta be Drunken Master, right? Old guy. Fucking hell, he's doing me in though, isn't he? Jesus Christ. He's got some fighting spirit. Sorry, I just looped him. That's the problem. Once you find the strategy, that's it, isn't it? It's over. Sorry, I believe this is the last boss. I'm guessing that these were originally going to be stages, and for development time or budget reasons, they just cut short and they just gave you 4 boss fights in a row. Because why would you have 4 boss fights in a row, right? So I'm guessing there was going to originally be levels there. I'm guessing these green things as well are zombies of some kind, or ghouls. I don't know. The last boss is coming up again. I can't remember exactly how you deal with these bosses, but so far it's been pretty good. I think you could pretty much tank the damage, to be honest with you. Their health ball seems to be pretty similar to mine, so... Oh wow, there you go guys. I've beaten the game already, so... I know it might not look like much now, but back in the days, 30 years ago, this was just so good. This was so good. I enjoyed this game a lot. It's over. I know. I'm sorry if I beat it too quickly, but... That's the thing. Back in the days, though, you weren't worried about the length. It was just... It was what it was. But that's Karate Kid, you know? I don't know if anyone's actually ever played this on stream and talked about it, but... I've always had a soft spot for it. It's one of the very first games I owned. And watch this bit at the end is great. What a nice ending. Look at that. Beautiful. Why do I have... What was the purple hair? What was the dye job, though? I have no idea. Did you enjoy that, Oddie? Was that good? Did you enjoy that game? There's a 2-player game? I'm guessing it's going to be one of those terrible modes where you both rotate turns, you know, it's like player 1 has the first stage and then player 2's got to run the first stage. I guess it's like that. Yeah, I honestly, I know people might laugh at this, but fucking back in the day, I loved this. I really liked it. being a fan like Bruce Lee and Van Damme and stuff like that.